Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Welcome to the Eureka Springs City Council meeting, February 23rd, 2026 at 6 p.m. Monday, here in the lower part of the auditorium. I am Steve Holofield, Mayor Pro Tem, acting mayor right now for Butch Berry. Little update, Mayor Berry is still in rehab and is healing. We send our thoughts and prayers towards him and his family. And so moving on, city agenda. Anybody have anything they want to add or take away from the agenda?
Roll call.
I'm sorry, roll call. What's down? It's two items down, so, but, okay.
Mr. McClung.
Here.
Mr. Meyer.
Yes, I'm here.
Ms. Moyer. Here. Mr. Holyfield.
Here,
Mr. Avanzino.
Here.
Ms. Gruning. Here.
we have a quorum. So, agenda.
Pledge of
Pledge.
Allegiance.
I do.
We might think
You
it's
can
all out
just
of order.
follow this.
Oh, that's right.
Now, Jay.
Now agenda. Anybody have anything they want to add or take away? Susan?
Yes, I would like to add a temporary entertainment district for the Steampunk Festival coming up.
Okay.
Isn't it already on here?
No.
This is a temporary application.
It's, I think, different.
Okay.
So, new business 6?
New business, yes.
Steve, I have if we can delete new business number 2. I've talked with legal counsel, and I'm going to bring something up to CEPC before bringing it back up to city council.
So we're taking off the agenda, new business number 2, CAPC tax and city business license. All right. Anything else? Anybody else? Agenda? Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the amended agenda.
Say.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Dave made the motion, Terry seconded it, and it passes. Minutes, February 9th, 2026, in our packet. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes as presented for February 9th, 2026.
Second.
David made the motion, Susan seconded it. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Minutes pass. Commission committee reports and expired terms. We have under commission business, planning position 2 is vacant right now. CAPC position 1 is vacant right now. Under planning, I also wanted to say thank you to David Budicali, who's dropped off planning. He was a great commissioner, really miss him. For personal reasons, he decided to drop off planning. It's one reason we have 2 vacancies. 2 vacancies. CAPC still has a vacancy. Hospital, position 2 vacant. Parks, looks like we're good on parks. HDC, we have Corey O'Hara and Christine Santamore renewals. Do I hear a motion? Terry?
I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and reappoint Corey O'Hara. I think we ought to do them one at a time.
Yeah.
I'll second. No.
Dave made the motion, Harry seconded it. All in favor of Corey O'Hara being renewed on HDC, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Christine Santamore, Terry?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we also approve Christine Santamore for renewal.
Second.
Terry made the motion, David seconded it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Christine Santamore is renewed. And we still, I also wanted to point out Susan Daniels, who was on that commission, passed away a couple weeks ago. She literally was going through medical treatment for cancer and was at those meetings.
I hadn't heard that. Sorry to
Yeah,
hear that.
she,
No, we don't.
She stuck it out. She was on Zoom and kept coming to the meetings even when she was getting treatment and stuff. Really, our hearts go out to Susan Daniels' family and our appreciation to her and all she's done for the city. Cemetery has a vacancy, and tonight we have Chris Rithaler. We got his application last time. Anybody had a chance to look it over?
I move we approve Chris Rithalder.
Say,
Harry made the motion. Terry seconded it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Chris Rithaler is now a member of the Cemetery Commission. Congratulations. Public comments? All right. 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. Ferguson Stewart, 7 Harvey Road. I'm here to kind of remind us all in our history, before we became a city, we used to be known as the city of churches. One of the things in Eureka that are suffering right now is our churches and nonprofits due to the water rate increases and the sewer rate increases. So what I'm asking you to look at, and these institutions, these nonprofits, for instance, Answering the Call out of the Methodist Church provides meals to our residents when they couldn't afford them. Also, we've got a couple of ministries inside the city limits that also provides meals to those that can't afford it. We have the churches that are refuges and sanctuaries, and they provide so much overwhelming gift to our citizens that the little meager amount of money we make as a profit for those that water and sewer does not outweigh the amount of value they give to the community. So I'm asking you to look at an exemption. I'm asking you to look at an exemption of rates, water and sewer rates for a limited time until we can get maybe a additional rate element in the commercial zones for churches and nonprofits. Currently, that is not in the commercial zone. So I'm asking you to do that, look at it. The averaging bill now has risen from about anywhere from $100 to $700 in some of these churches. So it is definitely impacting these churches. So please take a look at it, and I'd appreciate anything you could do for them. Thank you.
700%.
Sewer, water, streets up. Oh, sorry, any more 3-minute public comments?
I have one
Okay.
for the record.
Right.
This is for the record. It begins with an African proverb: until the lion learns how to write, every story will glorify the hunter. To the members of council and the hospital commission, we've already witnessed this, haven't we? The high praise given to HR Director Jody Edmondson and former CFO Cynthia Asbury in particular. Yet none of you ever contemplated the possibility that we, my husband and I, along with over 100 employees, would step forward. And still, you can continue to sweep us under the rug. Still, you refuse to speak of us. Speaking of, when will we see the removal of HR Director Jody Edmondson? When will a forensics investigation take place? You want to move forward and ignore what's right in front of you? It's the elephant in the room, isn't it? Interesting how the commission chose to switch from 6 p.m. to 1 p.m. for their meetings, but we're welcome to attend, and they'd love to hear from us. The council agrees that they should remember the human side of things, yet crickets continue to chirp. Everybody sees what's been going on, everybody. How are your hands tied when you, the city of Eureka Springs, own the hospital? The community asks the very question we continue to ask: why won't you help us? We cannot stay silent about things that actually matter. You may choose to look the other way, but you can never say again that you did not know. By William Wilberforce, and it's from Samantha Webb. That's it.
Any other 3-minute comments? Okay. Now to unfinished business, sewer, water, streets updates. And we have our new old Simon here.
Mayor and Council.
You want to give us update on your status with the city? Some people are kind of surprised to see you tonight.
I don't know. I've still been, I've been employed here part-time, I guess. So we'll see what happens over the next few days.
We're sorry to hear about your co-worker.
Yeah, he's doing all right. We've been in communication. I've been up to see him at the hospital. He's up at Washington Regional right now, and
Who's at the hospital?
Sean is.
You already have the surgery?
No, it'll happen Thursday, but they're not going to release him because he has to be off his medication and everything for 7 days before they'll do the surgery. So he's I don't know. He's going through a lot right now, so just kind of keep him in your thoughts and prayers.
Thank you for coming back and filling in, at least. So.
What's that?
Thank you for coming back and
Oh, absolutely. I love this place. I love the community. You know, I'll forever be a part of Eureka, whether you guys want me to or not. So, sorry. So, Public Works updates, and I have to apologize. I haven't been here for the last couple of weeks, so I might breeze over some things that have already been discussed at the previous council meeting. I'll try to do the best I can here. So right now, before I left, we started pulling samples from the Leatherwood Creek because we had a caustic line that ruptured at the plant and caused the caustic to go into one of our SBRs. It raised the pH level too high, and it caused some turbulence to come out of the plant. That situation has been remediated, but we're still having to test out of the creek until further notice. Our groundskeeper, our city groundskeeper, is preparing to replant new flowers and other various plants at the planters around the city. So you might see some work happening in the near future regarding that. We have some mulch beds around the city. We're going to take all that mulch out, put some filter fabric down, reinstall mulch, and then start planting flowers once the weather's conducive to do that. Since our last council meeting, Aqua Turbo has showed up and rebuilt our UV disinfection system. So all that's back up to 100%. It included new bulbs and controllers and all kinds of various parts and pieces. Jack Tyler is scheduled to be here on Friday to replace the motive valve on SBR number 1. We've taken that SBR offline and have drained it down to where we could go ahead and get that valve removed and get it replaced. So that'll happen later this week. Last week, Madco installed and wired the new sludge basin control floats. So in our sludge basin, we have the aeration and the mixer and stuff like that. So that'll, once we get that started up, taken care of, that'll all be online. JL Bryson will be here on Friday to start installing the new influent valves on both of our SBRs. I ordered valves last year. They've came in, and they're just now getting around to where they could get freed up on their schedule to do that. We have a water leak over there by the Osage Creek Lodge in Main Street. It's kind of where we had a water leak a couple winters ago. We're going to be tackling that as soon as possible, but what we're waiting on right now is we're waiting on RDOT to free up some of their signal lights so we can put some signal lights up there because it'll have a drop-off off that side of the road, so we'll put traffic head-to-head while we fix that. Earlier today, I posted on Facebook, but Black Hills Energy emailed me today with their 2026 pipeline project list. So they're planning on replacing lines on Oregon, Emporia, Frisco, Grand, Ravine, Anderson, Cottage, Rogers Alley, and Spring Street in 2026. Of course, they might not get to all of them. It kind of depends on their funding. What I've noticed in the last few years is that they have grand ideas of what they're going to get done for the year, and their funding just kind of runs out, so they're not able to complete it until the next year. So if you notice any paint flags in your yard that indicate where water, sewer, gas, and communication lines are, please don't disturb them, leave them. They're only there temporary. And then I noticed at the last council meeting there was quite a few people that talked about snow removal and wish we would do these roads, these tighter roads. So I met with Michael today. I do have a new F-550 in the budget for this year. There's a possibility, and we're looking at the numbers to see if it's even a possibility of maybe getting a track skid steer unit with a plow on it to where we could be able to do this, but I could use it for other things like hammer attachment and different things. So it's something it's a piece of equipment that we could use year round, but it would enable us a little bit better to do these tight roads and, these really hilly slopes and stuff that we have here in the town. We're exploring those options. I just want the public to know that we're trying to figure a way out that we can handle these roads in a safe manner. And I'll try to follow up possibly at the next council meeting on what we decide. So aside from that, does anybody have questions? Yeah.
Terry?
The Stadium Drive there in front of the coffee pot, that leak is fixed, I guess?
As far as I know, the only leak that we have, to my knowledge, is the one out there at Osage, up there on Van Buren.
Okay.
Susan?
So for sure, thank you for all you did during the snow. I know that the workers need to be safe as well, trying to get the snow plows out. Question though for you, and I'm not sure if this is city, county, or state. I watched the meeting from 2 weeks ago when I was not here, and it was brought up by a citizen on painting the crosswalks across 23 because they're very faded. Is that because it's 23? Would that be city, state, county?
It's kind of a gray area, so we are going to rehab the stripes for the crosswalks along Spring Street, and I'll have them do the ones on Main Street as well. I'm not a fan of the two bars going across the road. I don't think they're visible enough. So we're going to go to the more modern style crosswalk, if you will, with the bars that go along with as you drive. You see them like Fayetteville and stuff like that. They're just a lot more visible. They have a black outline and stuff like that. We'll start putting those in once it warms up, but right now it's just too cold.
Right, yeah, that's understandable.
I was on Grand in Dairy Hollow this morning, and we need to freshen up the lines out there pretty soon. So I'm gonna have the guys probably tackle this later on in the week if the weather's conducive to do that, and freshen up those lines, get used to the paint sprayer again, and all that, and we'll start tackling on that here pretty soon too. The crosswalks, I mean.
And I don't know how this would look in our city because some of the crosswalks are close together, but pedestrians have the right of way.
In their crosswalks. That might be a better question for the
Do
attorney.
they here in Arkansas?
Or the police chief?
Yeah, don't ask me. I'll just run them over. No.
If there's a crosswalk, you need to utilize it.
Okay. I know you need to utilize it, but do pedestrians have the right of way?
Yes.
Like, does a car have to stop if a pedestrian's crossing?
Yes, they should stop. But
Arkansas
you're-
law states that pedestrians have the right
But
of
you're-
way on any road.
and I'd have to look at your ordinances, whether there's a jaywalking-ish, ordinance, that kind of thing. But if we've got crosswalks available, we need to use those because they are more visible and they're just safer for everyone. Motorists can see that better than someone who is just stepping out into traffic from the sidewalk. That's
Right,
just,
right,
it's
yeah.
just dangerous.
And
Billy?
Yes, and I'm
Billy, do you
not
have anything to
referring
add
to
to that? Because that's our police chief. He's the one to write the tickets.
I have a comment. A few years back, I know Butch mentioned that the highway department got on us for putting too many crosswalks across 23.
Yeah, so that's a totally different issue.
So-
RDOT controls the crosswalks that we do have on Highway 23. Now, as far as our guys painting them, I'm going to paint it and I'm going to address it with RDOT. We're going to take care of it and get it done with. Am I going to paint the yellow line down Main Street? No, but I'll
No,
do the
yeah.
crosswalks. It's just kind of a take and give kind of situation.
Do you have a question for me?
Do pedestrians have the right of way?
Yes, they have to be in the crosswalk to have the right of way.
Correct.
But that also includes the orange area on the sidewalk.
Okay.
So if they're standing on the sidewalk, they're getting ready to cross, just because they stop doesn't mean you can go on by. They actually have the right of way. So, yeah.
In the crosswalk?
In the crosswalk,
So if
including the painted
if I'm
part.
standing there and there's a crosswalk there and there's a crosswalk there, and I decide I'm booking right here, do I have the right of way?
If you're in the crosswalk. Yeah, if you're standing either on the sidewalk, in the painted area, that's why they paint the area on either side of the sidewalk, or either side of the crosswalk on the sidewalk. If you're standing in that, traffic is supposed to yield to you.
And that's a criminal statute. Otherwise, it's just strict negligence analysis. So nobody I think what you're asking is, can I run across the street in front of a car, and what happens if the car hits me? Is that what you're asking?
Not really. I'm just trying to, so when I'm in Nashville, in Miami, people, they stop. But here in Arkansas, we don't stop. But I see people just, and I know people are wanting to cross on the crosswalks. So my question is would it make sense to put signs up? Hey, pedestrians have the right of way.
Well, but that's not the question you were just asking. You were just asking about not a right of way not in a crosswalk.
What I was asking is, do pedestrians have the right of way in a crosswalk?
In a crosswalk, yes.
And they do.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. David?
So, Chief, I think my question, well, actually it's for both of you. The intersection at Spring and Main, that's always, people are always walking up Main and then crossing over. Are we ever going to address that problem? I mean, and
Yeah.
the reason I ask is I know it comes up all the time, but just the other day I almost saw someone get hit because they were in the street and on Main.
On the fence side or the wall side, yeah, and I would almost, to me, it's common sense that you don't cross there. There's nowhere to go. There's not really a whole lot I could address with that because they could see that there's nowhere to walk. There's no sidewalk on the other right side of the road. There's
We
a
got
wall.
rid of the steps.
There's no steps. There's nothing there. There's a crosswalk 50 feet down the road. They just choose not to use it.
I mean, I see that what we've got in place,
Uh-huh.
and you mentioned the word common sense, which we see a lack of, because people are still walking that path to cross Spring and Main. So do we put up a sign that says no crosswalk, do not walk on this side of the street?
I mean, I could, but you would think a wall would say, don't cross.
Oh, I get it. I 100% get it.
I mean,
I 100% get it. But
Yeah.
I see people almost every single day
yeah.
take that path.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot I can do with
Okay, just
that.
asking.
You know, I think Darwinism needs to play its part at some point, maybe.
Okay.
Because, I mean, our options are to, I mean, enforcement-wise, are to cite the walker, cite the pedestrian, right? Or cite the motorist. So which of those two options would you like to pursue?
Well, in that case, it would be citing the pedestrian,
Okay.
because the motorist there has a right of way. There is no crosswalk, there's nothing.
I mean, those are your two options.
Yeah.
Ticket the pedestrian or ticket the motorist.
It's a tough one. One day, when they still had the steps, I saw a guy coming down with a stroller, the little baby in front, coming off the steps into the highway. I stopped and I said, don't shove that kid out into the street. He pulled it back up and they went around.
Okay, moving on.
I still have, so for you, Simon,
Yes.
you mentioned the Black Hills repairing some gas lines throughout the city. I did not hear Main Street.
So Main Street is not on that list that they emailed out today.
Even
I
though
think
there's
the
an
Main
active gas
Street
leak?
is because of the gas leak they have, and that's a separate issue in itself. So this is the replacement of old infrastructure that they're doing. They've been doing it around town, but that situation on Main Street, I think, is because they actually have an actual leak. It'd be like us scheduling a water line replaces versus having a leak come up and having to.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. And also, last city council meeting, we had quite a few residents come and speak about snow removal, as you mentioned. And one of the suggestions that was made by a resident, I think it was on Owen Street, was putting up the poles to let drivers know there's a speed bump or a speed hump here.
There's signs by the speed bumps already. There should be. So if you go down East Mountain, you can see them at every speed bump, and they're not exact. They're pretty close, you know. So back in 22 or 23, I don't remember what year it was, we had a snow and we bought the new F550. So I took it upon myself to go down East Mountain to try to plow that without damaging the speed bumps, and I knocked off speed bumps because the plow sometimes wouldn't go high enough to clear them. I mean, I was going slow. I raised the thing up, and I still damaged speed bumps. And those speed bumps, when we replace them, they're over $1,000 a set. When you're talking like the hilly streets that connect, like the historic loop coming up and down, there's a good possibility they're going to come down there with the plow and they can't stop. And they're just the only thing they can do is put the plow down, but they don't have downforce on the plows, so the plows they're just going to skip on through, and they're going to take out any car that's parallel parked, any speed bump that's in the road. So not only am I putting people's personal property in jeopardy, but I'm also putting my employees' lives in jeopardy by sending them down those roads. So what we're trying to do is mitigate that by maybe buying a track machine that we could do those roads that are a little bit harder to get to, that have speed bumps, that had that kind of thing that we could go out and plow. We're just trying to figure out what our options are as far as what we can do safely in those areas.
So is there a method, a preventative measure that we can take? Are we currently spraying these side streets with the beet juice or
Yes.
whatever?
Yep. Yeah, we treat all the roads around the city. Now, how do I say it without saying it wrong? I don't know. So when we're applying the beet juice, I'm not 100% convinced that we're applying the beet juice at the correct amount. So the way we're doing it is kind of archaic. We have a piece of PVC pipe that comes down and it tees, and all it has is little holes in it, and they're driving down the road at some guesstimated speed and trying to apply the beet juice. It's not being fanned out. It's not spreading it out equally. We don't know what rate it's actually applying, and that's on us to try to figure out what to do to correct those issues. That could potentially be a future budgetary issue. I don't know, with a capital expenditure to purchase something to
Spray it.
Yeah, but we're trying to do the best with what we got. We're applying it. Is it 100% perfect? No. There's room for improvement, but improvement costs money too. And we're trying to be responsible and do all the things that we're supposed to do.
Okay. Harry?
Of course, in places like Chicago, they have snow routes, and when they know there's going to be a snow, they have people have to move your car off of the street, or if it's there and the plow hits it, it's your fault. But, how often do we have snow? My question is about the water bills. Water bills have not gone up 700%.
No. I think that last increase was 8%.
Yeah, but now we're getting some money in, and I thought, and Terry is with me on this, that when we got the second water bill increase, that we would drop the I&I charge.
That's a discussion for y'all to have. So,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, moving on. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.
Sidewalks?
I motion to discuss sidewalks.
Second.
So 2 meetings ago, a proposal was brought to us by the city inspector and the director of planning. And what they proposed is they looked at sidewalks, rated them, submitted photos, and talked about wanting to hold off implementing the ordinance. And after going home and thinking about it, I would like to, first I want to say I appreciate their time and effort in doing this within the historic district. That work matters, and it brings in awareness. But I want to clarify that it was also stated in what they presented to us that we were looking to revamp the ordinance. We're not looking to revamp, or it wasn't my intent to revamp the ordinance. It was to come up with a proposal that maybe we could help property owners with some type of aid to help with the sidewalks. So that being said, what we want to do is we want to support property owners, but we also want to uphold our code. Not enforcing Chapter 9.08 sets a precedent, and that's exactly what we would be doing. We're not enforcing it. It sends a message that compliance may be optional, while those who have maintained their sidewalks are left wondering why they're following the rules. So for those that are doing it, and then they're saying, well, look what the city's doing now. I watched the planning meeting from last week as well, and it was brought up that there are areas of sidewalk that people are taking out the concrete and replacing it with gravel, which isn't following the ordinance either. We want our sidewalks safe. And it was also brought up that I listened to at the last meeting for the Planning Commission that the sidewalks that were looked at were just in the historic district. And we want to make sure we are covering all of Eureka Springs throughout the city, not just one area. So it's our responsibility as a governing body to cover this citywide and not just one area. And I'm sure we would have eventually gotten there, but I just wanted to point out that that's what I heard. And we can absolutely explore ways to assist the property owners, but I don't think by delaying it is what we're doing. If we're doing that, we're truly bypassing the ordinance, and that's not the proper path. The ordinance is already law, and by not actively enforcing it, we're extending a deferral. It's like kicking the bucket down the road. And when you look at the number of days we wait a year that they get a notice, that's 360 days. Then they have an additional 180 days to do whatever they're going to do after they get a letter a year before. And in the ordinance, it also says that based upon the city inspector working with them, they can have another 90-day extension. That's nearly 2 years. And in 2 years, the sidewalks that they deem pretty acceptable today could be in disrepair in 2 years. When do we ever get ahead of this? I think that this is not an active enforcement. It's an extended deferral. And this is why we're in the situation we're in today. I truly feel if people can't afford to fix their sidewalks today, they're not going to be able to fix it in 2 years either. I do not agree with this proposal. I don't think that we are following our own ordinances. So allowing, I think we need to also consider the fairness of the other property owners who have invested in maintaining their sidewalks. Consistent enforcement ensures the responsibility is shared equally across the city. So if we are going to send a notice, and I don't even know when the last time a notice was sent. I know new sidewalks being put in, maybe with new businesses or new homeowners, but I don't know of any notices sent. So it's up to the council to decide whether we'll enforce this ordinance that's already in place or choose a different path. But as of today, our oath requires that we uphold the laws that we have adopted, and this includes Chapter 9.08. So as a legislative body, we're responsible for not only adopting ordinances, but ensuring that they're carried out fairly. So.
Terry?
I guess you can blame me for part of that because I've been on the council a long time, but they've never really been enforced other than, you know, in the commercial in the historic district. That's pretty much it. And that's even not 100%. I think what they presented us is a good plan because it is showing that we're putting faith in the property owners to try and do something. I thought the presentation was really good. And it shows that the city is taking the steps to give the property owners an opportunity to do this in a generous time frame. I don't argue that. It's a generous time frame. But if they don't, then they're going to be held accountable. So I like it.
I disagree. I think it's way too long.
Well, I'm going to add something here. I watched planning too. They didn't just talk about it. They had a workshop on it, and they're continuing to have workshops on sidewalks this in a couple of weeks or whatever. Sidewalks and the
Vision plan.
mission plan.
And-
So the
yeah.
planning commission is working towards trying to make some kind of suggestion improvement. They didn't just mention at their meeting. They're having workshops to deal with this.
So I listened to the workshop.
Pardon me?
Oh,
Can I speak? Paul, could you come up here? I remember they said that they have the worst sidewalks. You've graded the sidewalks that are the worst on down, and those are the ones you're going to start with.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. Now, that's a plan that you're putting into effect now, right?
We was asked to hold off until this meeting here tonight.
Okay. Well, if we need to approve his plan, I move that we approve Paul's plan, because I think it's a good one.
May I say a couple things?
Sure.
So part of the reason why we did the year was because it wasn't in effect for many years, but also too, there's multiple ways, like in the historical district, that we want to try to preserve the stone by maybe restoring the stone instead of replacing the stone. And that might take a workshop, but there's the Eureka Stone Company does restoring stones. So there's multiple ways to do that. Another reason why is because Public Works don't have the funds to put the money into the sidewalks. If it costs $100,000 today to replace the sidewalks that we have, Public Works asked us to hold off a little bit for them to put that in their budget if they have to pay for that. So there's multiple reasons kind of why we asked to delay that. Plus, if you go to some of these sidewalks, not only does the homeowner has to get bids, they also have to get HDC approval on a lot of them. So there's a process that we got to go through. Is the reason why we asked to delay the first set of sidewalks.
So just for clarification, you were there during the planning workshop, right?
I was.
And what's the goal of the planning workshop then on sidewalks?
Well, I think the planning goal on the sidewalk wasn't the replacement as much as, you know, they were okay with Fergie's here too. He could probably explain a little bit on that too, but I think they wasn't as much as the sidewalks itself as much as the specs and what sidewalks to redo, because the historical district already has the specifications on those sidewalks. So we're talking about new development. If you look at our plan too, it included not only all the sidewalks, it included sidewalks that weren't there. But I think the Planning Commission is going to be looking at maybe presenting more for new development, places that sidewalks aren't there, and stuff like that.
Good.
All right. Can we ask Fergie to come up and comment on that? I just want clarification that we're not stepping all around Planning Commission and everybody else.
Ferguson Stewart, Chair of the Planning Commission. Yes, sir. Yeah, exactly. Paul said it exactly. We're looking at a comprehensive look at not only replacement, but also sometimes in a residential zone where there is none, when a neighbor or someone puts one in, does the right side need to replace theirs or put one in, the left side need to put theirs? Is there a timeline for that? Also, a repair versus replacement, different issues, the type of concrete used. Paul's got a great detail on the type of, and the stressor and the type of concrete that could be done. And we're just looking at the details on that to see if it's physically feasible in a repair job to require that, you know, a concrete mixer show up. So versus a guy with a wheelbarrow shows up. So we're debating that right now. That's what we're looking at, is the actual kind of the reality when the meat hits the road. What would it be, and when would it be enforced, and would the neighbor have to comply? If the corner complies, does the neighbor, you know, those kind of things aren't really detailed in our current ordinance. So we're looking at adding that to the ordinance.
Susan?
So that's what I heard, was more on the
Details? Details?
the details of it, not so much enforcing the ordinance.
Okay.
And I believe, too, I also heard that there is a list of approved vendors that if somebody wanted their sidewalk replaced, that they would have to go to that person because they know what, like,
Correct.
what goes into concrete, sand, and
Yeah, correct. They'd have to be, you know, licensed to work inside the city, just like any other contractor. So
you know, can somebody use a wheelbarrow, or does a cement truck have to come in, which is more money? So that's what I was hearing out of the planning workshop. But what concerns me is that while we want to delay this, and it could be a long time, that the accessibility standards, the public safety considerations, the potential ADA implications, and I know we got photographs. I don't think they always capture the severity of the damages to the sidewalks and to the slab displacements, and you're right, they can take us. So we're talking about two different kinds of sidewalks too. We're talking about the historic, where you have the stone, where you can come in and resurface it, maybe flip it, but you also have the regular sidewalks throughout town that are trip hazards, and there's elevation differences that can create issues. I also heard Ferguson saying that he knows several people already that have tripped on our sidewalks, and I heard another person wanting to put signs up saying that our sidewalks are hazardous and you be careful with them. And yet we want to wait 270 days, I think is what I added up, almost 2 years to give somebody the opportunity if they do it. 630 days, nearly 2 years. So I'm okay with maybe adjusting the time period. I don't want to say I'm inflexible, but I think 2 years is a long time. Not everybody is in HDC.
Harry?
Just to be clear, all of our sidewalks are in the historic district. All of them. So, and not all of our sidewalks are the stone that is required in the ordinance. Many, I don't know when the sidewalk ordinance was written. It was before Terry's time, but
No, it's not that old.
It could be that it needs to be modified because there's concrete sidewalks in all kinds of places in town, and if it has to be stone, it's going to be very, very expensive.
Well, so in the HDC guidelines, it specifies in your neighborhood or where you live what you need.
David?
I'm talking about
I'm curious to know, and I guess Fergie and Paul, you can both answer this question. What's the rationale of the almost 2-year time period?
So it wasn't 2 years. What it was we was going to give them 1 year to do it all. If they don't do it all, then we require it to be done within 180 days. If it's not within 180 days.
And then you have a 90-day extension, it says in the ordinance.
That extension, I believe, is if the building inspector warrants it. But I have to read that. But the 180 days is going to be a requirement if they do not comply within the 365 days.
And I guess my question then for Heather, is that legal?
Yes. I've discussed this with Mayor Berry, and I guess the city's been exercising discretion for however many years already and not enforcing the ordinance. It's been on the books. I think the city has the discretion to enforce it or not enforce it. And historically, it's not been enforced. The purpose of the sidewalk ordinances is to get them in shape, right? I mean, that's the whole goal of the ordinances. Enforcement of these provisions would mean criminal citation to court, fines on top of what people are already going to owe to fix their sidewalks. I don't know that that's going to accomplish your goal, so that's something to consider. I understand sidewalks are in bad shape and everybody wants to get them fixed, but consider how you're going to enforce, what the effects of enforcing the ordinances at this point in a black and white way are going to accomplish. I don't know that they're going to help necessarily accomplish the goal of fixing the sidewalks.
Absolutely.
So I think the plan is a good reintroduction to the public that these ordinances exist and you are expected to fix your sidewalks without, that gives everybody an opportunity to get the work done before we start issuing citations.
Paul?
Keep in mind, that 365 days is when the enforcement starts. We can start removing sidewalks and start doing that after that 365 days. That's the reason why we was wanting to give the 365 days. Our goal was if someone comes up and, has some hardship or something, say, hey, I need some more time. It's not to just sit there and say, it's written in stone, we're going to do this. So we could start enforcing that. Our goal was to stretch it out to 365 days for multiple reasons, and I explained those.
And I agree, if somebody's under hardship, but they're working on it, that's all you can ask for. And it does say that there is a 90-day extension with the approval of the building inspector.
Correct.
So that would be you. So it can be 90 more days on top of that.
Yeah, correct. And I think that 365 days is very good to be given plenty of time to get it done.
Okay. So what's the next step?
I second Harry's motion.
Do what?
I wish to second his motion that he made.
Can you repeat your motion, please?
My motion is to approve Paul's plan.
There he did.
So would that be amending the ordinance?
No.
It's a plan. It's not
What is
an
it then?
ordinance.
It's a plan.
It's a plan.
Okay.
It's a plan.
It's what?
It's a plan.
It's just
not-
an
It's a
enforcement.
plan
it's
to
just an-
enforce.
An enforcement procedure at
Okay.
this point.
Right. Harry made the motion, Terry seconded it. All in favor endorsing the plan, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no.
No.
Okay, motion carries. Next up is the Downtown Permanent Entertainment District. Do I have Mr. Colin Polk come up to the mic, please? Introduce yourself again.
Colin Polk, 36 Dawson Road. Hello again. So I've been quite busy the last month. Tried to make some meetings. There were some sicknesses. So I've talked to a few people, and I honestly feel that this would be a good workshop for the board, the city council. David?
Yeah, I just want to say, number one, I really appreciate all the work that you put into this. I completely agree that it needs to be a workshop. There are just tons and tons of questions. I don't want to step on any toes. I'm going to vote the way our constituents want us to vote.
David, you
David, speak into the mic.
I'm trying. It is so difficult
I
to
know.
look at
Don't
people.
look at him.
Don't look at it. You don't have to look at him and talk to him.
There you go. Thanks.
So I completely agree with the fact that it needs to be a workshop because I think all the stakeholders need to be involved in a discussion, in a civil discussion. Retailers, hotels along the entertainment district, bar owners along the entertainment district, residents that live in the district. So, I mean, do we need a motion to make this a workshop?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to go ahead and make a motion that we,
Workshop it.
hang on, that we table an ordinance.
So you probably need to table it, and then you can create
Yeah.
a workshop about it.
So I'd like to make a motion to table the Downtown Permanent Entertainment District for now.
Second.
Does it need to be two motions, Heather?
I don't think you really need a motion to workshop it. You guys can create your own workshop. You can
Okay.
create your own, sorry, I'm not, I don't think you need a motion to have a workshop. I think you guys can do that as long as you table it off of the agenda.
Okay, so I would like to table it. However, I want to know y'all's thoughts on this process as well.
Well, you made a motion, and Terry seconded it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to go ahead and vote on it. All right, all in favor of tabling this for now, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Okay, it's been tabled.
And then you can
Thank you.
So we'll set up a workshop, Terry?
Okay, that's, I was just going to have you
And would you do that,
State
Kim?
that, yeah. Get it arranged.
Kim will set up a workshop.
And I've got something to say. I think that the public, the voters, need to be notified, say in the newspaper or something, because the law pertaining to entertainment districts has changed.
Right.
Up until now, up until just our last meeting, or the meeting before last, everyone was under the impression, because when we passed the ordinance to allow entertainment districts, that we could only have one at a time in the town. And now we can have as many as we wish. So I think that's very important for the voters to know.
Right. Would like everybody to be there that wants to be there and give their
Yes.
opinion and their, and
So
their input.
I mean, it needs to be an open meeting, obviously,
Yes.
but there's no requirement to publish notice of the meeting in the newspaper.
So I guess I had a question for Kim. Do we just normally put this on Facebook that we're having a workshop, or how does that?
No, we give public notice to all of the newspapers, and they can run it as a PSA if they choose to, and then we publish it on our website as well.
Okay.
So that's how, we don't use social media to convey that. So it'll go through public notice just like every other city meeting.
Okay, perfect. And then I guess, Colin, for you, is just round up your people and let them know we're going to have a workshop. We'll get a date for that. And then I think that's the best course to take. So thank you.
Okay. Moving on, new business, proposed sales of lot 12 through 16, blocks 46 in Riley and Armstrong.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
You know, introduce yourself, please.
Lila Allison.
Line.
Mr. Mayor.
Terry?
Yeah, I went down and looked at it. It's not any thing that the city, I can see, ever having any use for. It does help her with the driveway, just as she's put on the map here and all, and kind of squares up her property. And so I think what we need to do is, I would like to make a motion. I want two different motions here, I guess. I'm not really sure how to do this. Well, one is we need to set up a public hearing, but before we do that, I want to do this tonight, is set that public hearing so we can get it on the road for her. But we need to establish a price. So I would like the public hearing. Well, it would have to be 2 meetings from now, because it takes that much time to get it in the paper. But I would like to go ahead for the next meeting for her to present us a purchase price that she's willing to give, that we can approve, make an offer on it, and that we can approve, so then the next meeting we can follow up with the public hearing, so we can have that in place, and so we can get this on the fast track, so to speak.
What do you think?
Well, I thought part of why I was providing the previous sales was so that you guys would have a good idea of what had sold, and that you would tell me what you wanted for the property. Are you wanting me to tell you what I'm willing to pay? Because we're 6 weeks in now.
Yes.
Yes, you have to give an offer.
Okay.
I think that's
That wasn't
the route
what
to go.
Butch said. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I think you guys might be doing it backwards. If you're selling the property to her,
We have to give her a price.
Well, actually, we're not, because
okay.
it's no different than what the other one is that we're looking at. They made us
Can I then make an offer
You can
tonight?
make, yes,
so
you
that
can,
we can.
you can submit, what I suggest you do is submit an offer in writing to the mayor's office that can then be considered disseminated and be considered and discussed by the board at the next meeting.
Yeah,
And then-
so we can.
I
do
don't
it
know
except-
what other public meeting you need. You guys can either accept or reject the offer.
Right.
And then we can enter a sale contract at that point. I don't know that another meeting is
Can we not
required.
do all of that tonight? Like if I gave you I'm willing to pay this amount, can you vote on it?
Rochelle?
Since I've been on council, this is the second property that's come before council to sell. I am personally not interested in selling any more city property until we have a vision plan, and I am definitely not in favor of voting to sell property for an offer just received.
Right.
Terry? I mean, Harry, sorry.
Well, if we had allowed livestock in town, it'd be a very valuable place for goats. But other than that, it's not worth a lot of money. Terry agrees.
Well, like I said before.
So just come up with an offer,
Yeah.
please, and that's the way we've sold everything in the past.
I think to answer your question, though, yes, technically you could give them an offer tonight and they could vote to accept or reject that. I don't think they want to do that, though. Okay, so my advice would be to submit an offer for them to consider.
To the mayor's office, please.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry it's taking so long.
No, if somebody would have said it, I would have done that 6 weeks ago. So
Welcome to
I will
politics.
take care of it
Sorry.
tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on. CAPC taxes delayed. Right. Discussion of eliminating the I&I charges on water, sewer bills.
Yeah, because I want Butch to be
Motion
here.
discuss. Someone going to make a motion to discuss?
No.
No. Okay. Discussion proposed increase the city sales tax for wastewater treatment plant. We have somebody out here who's going to talk about that, I think.
Somebody.
Whose agenda item is this?
Come on up.
So I'm meeting with the mayor a couple of times a week, phone, text, and I've gone over and saw him. When I visited with him last, he wanted us to start talking about this again. So that's why it's on here as a discussion tonight. Terry was involved. We had a water committee. Colin was involved too. We had a water committee. We looked at ways that we could raise revenue to help the water department and maybe to, at that point, go away with some of the I&I, some of those things. And so kind of the first step in that is determining what percentage we would want to ask for. So I'm going to give you these.
I need it for the
This is just a little chart that I did to kind of show you what the different sales taxes would bring in a year based off of our 2025 sales tax collected. If we were able to pass a 1% sales tax, that would generate $1.7 million a year for the water sewer treatment plant. 0.75% would be 1.2 million. 0.5% would generate 855, and 1/4% would generate 427. I went ahead and put down there. You can see that our current tax, we have 6.5 for the state, 0.5% for the county, and 2.375 for city, which brings us to a 9.375. Then if you add the CAPC tax on there, 3%, it's 12.375. Then I showed you what the taxes would go to depending upon a 1%, 3/4, 1/2, or 1/4%. There's going to be a lot of steps to this in getting this going, but we just kind of wanted to talk about it because it's something that we're going to need to get passed with city council so that it can get on the ballot and stuff. One thing that we are going to do, I'm meeting this week with Cheryl from Raymond James to talk about the possibilities of bonds based on these sales tax. So we'll have her. I talked to her in Little Rock a couple of weeks ago, and she's more than welcome to come up, or more than willing to come up here and talk to us about that part of it when we get to that aspect of it. But this is just for discussion. to kind of look at, to see. And kind of answer any beginning questions that you have. Terry will be able to jump in too because he was on the committee. So,
Terry?
One question I have is, what is our deadline to get this on the November ballot? Because should we pass this, which I hope we do, it needs to be on the November ballot.
okay, Kim, we talked about this today, but I don't remember the date.
Yeah, you need to shoot for May 1st for completion to get your packet over.
So that's
on the ballot.
pretty quick, really.
Yeah, it
So
is.
we need to address this right away.
Yes, sir.
So we've already raised rates on our residents. There's a second one coming, correct?
No, we've already done the second one. It started in January.
Okay,
And
so
then
we've
our
done-
next one won't be till 2027.
Okay, so 2 already done, and we're asking them to pay an additional tax. What discussions have been made to help our residents to answer those questions? Why you just raised our rates twice, now you want us to pay an additional tax? That doesn't sound right to me. So how are we expected to offset that with our residents?
Well, one thing that we need, and I know this has been brought up, and it's not right, but one of the things that we need to keep in mind, when we're talking about water rates, we are mandated by the state to charge certain rates. It was put in place by Act 605. We're not out here just going, well, I want $5 more million in the water department, so I'm going to jack everybody's rates up. This is out of my hands. It's out of y'all's hands, really. It's out of the mayor's hands. This is state. If we are not in compliance for it, we are fined. We can lose a lot of money. So the rate study that we did was to show us how, because we have a time frame of when we have to be in compliance, and so it was a time frame to get us into compliance. So I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but this is not something that we're just doing as a whim. This is something that we were mandated to do by this act that was passed.
Well,
what
hang
this
on.
is,
We were mandated under 605 to increase the rates. We were not mandated to add an additional tax.
exactly, that's what I was fixing to explain.
Okay.
Is that, so then the request of this council was for us to form a committee and sit down and talk about ways that we could raise money to help with the water sewer treatment plant, with these big, $2 and $3 and $4 and $5 million projects that need to be done at the water treatment plant. We came back and said, everybody wants to say, okay, the tourists are what causes the demand on the water treatment plant. They're the ones that are blowing it up. And so they don't want the citizens to have to be on the back of it. To be on the back of it, that would be raising water rates more in our cities. And so this was, doing a sales tax is an opportunity to pass a citywide sales tax so that everybody that buys something, tourists, everybody that comes in, will help pay for those repairs, those things that need to be done at our water sewer plant. So that's what the committee that we had, there was really no other way to come up with additional funds to pay for those things going in our long-term plan. There's no way to pay for those things unless we do a tax. It's either rates or tax. We felt like we were at the limit on what we could put on our citizens as far as the rate, because we're having to follow that, and we didn't want to go any more than that. So then this was the other aspect to go, because the majority of it would be paid by the tourists that are coming into town.
Rochelle?
So I think your explanation was so good, right? Where we have to start this conversation is the fact that our wastewater systems and our water systems are aged. So wastewater is going to require $3 million in improvements basically immediately. And over time, up to $6 million. And if you look back at the reports that we received in 2025, the water system also requires millions of dollars of improvement. That we have to do that to make sure that we can provide water and take care of wastewater issues and have a running city and can continue to be a tourism destination. That just is a given. So how do we raise that money? What we've done currently, like Michael was saying, is we've raised rates on the 22 or 2,400 households in town, and we're going to continue to raise rates because the government requires that we ensure that we can make these improvements financially. So like Michael was saying, and the committee decided, how else could we finance this kind of improvement? And this is what cities all around us are doing, is they're approving a sales tax. The people are voting on that, getting a bond issue to pay. And so thinking about that, I think these numbers are really helpful, because what we can see is that in a year, given historical sales tax receipts, we can raise $1.7 million and disperse the burden for replacing and repairing these systems to everyone that lives in town, not everyone that uses town, not just the people that live here. That seems really unfair and a high burden. So my question to you guys is, because I've not been through this process before technically, if citizens were to approve a sales tax and we were able to sell bonds and we were able to raise this kind of money to pay for these infrastructure improvements, could we then do another rate study and possibly change that rate that's required by the households in town to pay?
No.
Yes.
No, I don't believe.
Yes, Harry.
I don't believe.
Terry, hold on.
Harry, we can.
We would have to have another rate study, we would have to pay for it, but yes, we could have another one done. And the thing about the rate study, and this is another thing that I think is a misconception of the rate study that I would like to clear up, is this rate study, it's trying to make your water department where it's not going into major debt just to operate, okay? So this is to cover your operating expenses. Then it factors in a debt coverage ratio of saying, okay, you can take you need this much money to cover your day-to-day, and if you're going to go out and borrow some money, because you can't just come up with $6.5 or $7 million, you're going to have to go out and borrow it, then you've got to be able to show that you can pay that payment on it. So it's a debt coverage ratio. So when we get these rates up to where they need to go, it's going to just basically cover the day-to-day operations of the water treatment plant, and it's going to provide for that debt ratio to be able to go out and borrow more money. It is not going to create a huge surplus of money that we're going to have in the water department, that if, something blows up and it's $500,000 or $1 million, that we're just going to be able to go, oh, let's try to check for it. That's not where we're going to be with that. The sales tax would help provide that, because it would help. You would have, hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in per month into the water department to be able to fix things and to be able to go out, and if there was a big leak or whatever, or they needed to replace pipe or whatever, you would have that instant money, instead of being like where we've been for the last year and a half, 2 years, where we've been putting Band-Aids on little things, $100,000 here, $200,000 here, and we've been doing that in the last year to kind of keep it going until we can get this $6.5 million loan, everything worked out on it. So this is future, it's for planning, it's for in the future of what we need, because if you think about this, I started to put the title on here, 2027 tax increase, because if you think about it, by the time it goes to the ballot in November, by the time we get it all enacted and all that, and we do all the paperwork and stuff, you're probably looking at, the first of the year before we're going to be able to even start collecting that tax. So then we're into 27. How deep are we going to be at that point?
Terry?
Well, what it enables us to do is to, to apply for a new bond if this tax is approved, it gives us the revenue to retire any new bonds that we have to have, which will do a tremendous amount of good for the sewer plant, water lines, all that infrastructure that we need desperately. And we are in the same boat as, nearly every town in the state's going through right now because of what they've done to us. And We need it. There's no doubt about it. It's just, we do not have a benefactor that's just going to hand us the money to, here you go, have at it. Unfortunately, we don't have that. So we have to do something, and this is the only thing that makes sense. Now, we talked about doing a 10-year sunset.
Yeah.
And also, it also has to be absolutely one-way sewer water. It cannot be diverted to any other projects. It has to
Open
be.
bucket of money.
It has to be.
And
that way.
while may I comment just real quick on his sunset clause? On the
next, David.
sunset clause, one thing that we do want to look at, and this is why I want to bring Cheryl in, is because we would want to set that sunset clause similar to a term that we would want on a bond, whether we would want 10, 15.
When the bond's paid off with sunsets.
Yes.
We came really close to getting a $50,000 a day fine at the sewer plant. The sewer plant was not working. We were polluting Table Rock Lake every day. And they're fighting it every day now. It's going to take about $6 million even though we've spent a bunch of money on it, that's just to keep it from polluting now. But we have to do some work to it, because on a peak weekend, it's not handling all of what's going on. If we got a rain on a busy weekend, the sewer plant is overfilled. So, and we've got water lines that are 40, 50 years old. Or older, and sewer lines that are old. I mean, we got polluted springs because of bad sewer lines. So, we got to spend a lot of money, not just the sewer plant, but all the lines and the water, because it's just been neglected, and that's a whole lot of cities have done that. Out of sight, out of mind. You flush the toilet, and it just goes away, and it goes downstream. Nobody puts their sewer plant upstream from you.
David?
Yeah, first of all, I want to make it clear that I am not saying that we do not need to spend money on our sewer system. I get it that it's $6 million. I was part of the council that voted for that last year or whenever it was. What I want to make sure that we're doing before we make this a ballot initiative is that we inform our residents as much as we can about the impact that this is going to have. I mean, my fear.
And that's why that's why we want to start it now, is to get as much information out there for them to have as much. If we need to have a workshop on I'm not sure legally what we can do on that.
Even if we have to go door to door, I mean, it's going to take that kind of concentrated effort.
I completely agree.
We do not want to let it fail.
Door hangers and meetings, public meetings would be a good deal.
Yes. What I'm afraid of personally, this is just coming from me, is that I don't want us as a tourist destination where our industry is tourism to price ourselves out of the tourists. That's what I'm afraid of.
Branson's tax
I'm not done here.
is 15 to 16%.
I understand. I think it's important that we have all these. I mean, I completely agree that we need the money from somewhere. I get it. And I appreciate the work that you guys did. But I just want to make it clear to our residents why this is necessary, how we're going to do it, that we can use this to fund bonds, all these things. Because what you're saying now is not what our residents are going to ask. All we're going to hear is they're raising taxes again. That's going to be it. So how do we address this?
Susan?
I think when they realize that it'll help minimize their future bills from going up, and they know it's a tourist town, and they know who uses a lot of the water when they come in, more so than the locals, that I hope it would make sense to them.
I hope so too.
Well, and you know what, the way we have to position this is if we keep raising your water bills if that's our only source, that affects you individually. If you're the one that's putting it, we're putting it on the backs of the 1,700 water bills that we have that go out. If we can pass a tax that is going to go where it's going to be primarily paid by the tourists, then that helps with their argument of saying, don't put all this on my back because this has been caused by the tourism. You know, so that's about the only way. I mean, we've looked at all different kinds of ways, and that's about the only way that you're going to be able to do that, because you can't really say, okay, so I saw you had a Texas tag, so I'm going to charge you an extra tax. You know, it kind of has to go through everything. But this is the best way that we have seen that we could come up with, that we could operate with. And that's why we have put this in here at the different rates, because maybe, you know, we come back and we say, you know, we think 1% is just way too much to tax them, so we're going to try 0.5% or 3/4 cent sales tax. That's why I put down there on the bottom, you know, of what their overall tax would be should you go and buy an article. That's part of this discussion, is where y'all are comfortable, where you land at on that.
Terry?
I'd like to make a motion that we, or whatever, I guess it's really, motion is not needed, but I would like to have the mayor's office set up a workshop for this. I think we can have a more fluid discussion doing that, doing this in a workshop before we get technical with it.
Right.
And invite the public, of course, as we always do, and get a little input from them, and
Get input from the public.
but we can't drag our feet. I mean, it's 1st of May is rapidly approaching.
Yeah.
Second.
If we're going to do it, we need to do it.
Kim, got that down?
Yep.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, moving on.
And if you have any other questions, feel free to email me or whatever. Don't feel free to email me.
Hey, Michael.
Don't call me, call you.
Feel like
Don't call me. Call somebody else. I'll give you Terry's number.
New business number 5, resolution for the sale and disposal of city property, Transit Department.
So anytime we have something that's a city asset that we sell that we think will bring over $5,000, we have to do a resolution just getting the council's approval to sell it. This is we're going to sell 2 items, a trolley and a tram, that are listed there. There are ones that Smitty has replaced with new ones. We do have to contact the state of Arkansas and get their approval to sell these, and he has received that approval. So it's just a resolution that it says it's okay for him to go ahead and sell these 2 items. And Arkansas has released their interest in them.
Okay. Terry?
I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and assign this resolution a number and pass it without,
By title only.
yeah, by title only. That's, I was going to say without reading it.
I'll second.
You don't have to read a resolution technically anyway, so.
Well, I don't want to read it.
Okay. Sign a resolution or a number.
This is resolution number 904, a resolution authorizing the disposal of surplus property of the Transit Department through auction.
Do anything else?
Just vote to pass it.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Unanimous. Next is,
Is it me?
Better, you need to.
No, you need to sign it.
I think so,
I didn't
yeah.
sign it, sorry. Okay, temporary entertainment district application.
Yes, I motion to discuss the temporary entertainment district.
Second.
So this was brought to me by Danny Watson, who's here, and I'll ask Danny to come forward. It was presented on time to the city council, or to the city office, but it didn't make the agenda, so we wanted to add it so we can try to maybe get this voted on. Do you want to go ahead?
Excuse me just a moment. How will you vote on it? There's not a resolution. There's no resolution at the table for this. That's why it's not on the agenda.
So how do we get a resolution?
You can
It's
vote
on-
to have one written up.
It's on the March 9th meeting agenda, as Danny and I talked about today.
Okay, so then he has to wait?
Yes.
Thanks, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Where is this going to be?
Agenda setting,
Pardon?
moving on. Agenda setting. Anybody have anything they want to add to the agenda for the March 9th meeting? Okay. City Council comments. We'll start with Susan.
So I was not here when Simon officially resigned, so I wanted to thank Simon for all his hard work, even though I know he'll be here part-time, but stepping in as he does, I think it's just shows a lot of how important the city is to him, so I appreciate that. I was out of town, but last weekend I was here, and it was a beautiful weekend. Town was busy, so I think that was a good sign. I think other than that, that's all I have right now.
Thank you. David?
Yeah, I'd like to send out my wishes for a speedy recovery for both the mayor and Sean. I've not been in contact with them. I'm following everybody else, so I hope they start feeling better and getting better. And I also want to address, again, the public comments that were made by Mr. and Mrs. Webb about the hospital. In the last meeting, if you recall, I asked Tiffany to provide us some kind of synopsis of personnel issues that she's been dealing with, without giving us names or the issues in general, but that she is dealing with them, because I think that's what people need to hear. And I'll call Tiffany and ask for that. Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay. Rochelle?
I also would like to extend my support and prayers for Sean. I did not realize that he was having those medical issues, and also thank Simon for stepping back in. We're in a delicate position with all the things happening with Public Works, so thankful that we have folks who can handle those things. I also, just as a comment, kind of moving forward, I would love to see the sort of commission report section of the meetings utilized more. I'd love to see a budget from Parks for 2026 and what their plans are for the year. I'd love to have Tiffany here so we could follow up on things that we talked about before. So I see that that's on there, and I'd love to use that more.
Okay. Harry?
Well, I wish Butch a speedy recovery. I think he's going to be fine from what I've heard from the doctors or from all the comments. And Sean, Sean's facing a pretty heavy-duty operation, and I wish him well. He's a good guy.
Okay. Terry?
Sean, good luck with that surgery. Yeah, we're all pulling for you, that's for sure. And want you back soon. And same for the mayor. He's convalescing. It's a slow go for him, but he'll be back. It won't be too long. And for all of you out in TV land that I forgot to wish Happy New Year to, Happy New Year.
Okay. All right.
You're late, Terry.
Mayor's comments, stand-in mayor's comments, I guess you'd say. Wish a speedy recovery to Butch and hope he gets well and gets back soon. Also, hope Sean's surgery goes well and he does good. He's back soon. On Saturday, March 7th, the Eureka Springs High School Future Business Leaders of America will host a pickleball tournament at the Eureka Springs Community Center, 44 Kings Highway. Tournament play begins at 9 a.m. So come out, enjoy some competition, and support our future business leaders. Also, the afternoon from 3 to 7:30 p.m., the Writers Colony at Dairy Hollow at 515 Spring Street will hold an all-day screenwriting workshop, followed by dinner and a film screening. and that's that afternoon, March 7th. We encourage everyone to participate and support these great local events. The cemetery historic tour of our historic cemetery starting back up the first weekend in April. It's going to be every Saturday at 11 a.m. It's a 60-minute walking tour for $20, April through September. So that's starting back up with some actors and some, it's all volunteers, and all the money goes to supporting the cemetery. Okay? With that said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Terry made the motion. Harry seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Hey, Terry.
We are adjourned.